forget this. What do we want?
No triple toys!
I can't hear you.
No triple toys!
Still can't hear you.
No triple toys!
No triple toys! No triple toys! No triple toys! No triple toys! No triple toys! No triple toys!
I want to introduce our next speaker, who comes from the mayor-elect's office, Eric Adams, Ms. Ingrid P. Lewis Martin, chaplain for office, Eric Adams' office.
What do we want? No triple toys! What do we want?
No triple toys!
Eric Adams could not be here, but he asked me to be here to represent him. He has always stood with corrections. He is not a new friend, he's an old friend. He has been talking with your president, Benny, to discuss all of the issues that you are faced with. Day one under the Adams administration is a new day for corrections. Day one, we are at the table. We are talking with corrections to find out what your issues are and how we can best address them. Women should not be afraid to go to work. Women should not. They will not have to be afraid to be assaulted by inmates. Officers will be respected for the hard work that they do to protect our society. The dignity that officers deserve will be given to them. Day one is a new day for corrections under the Eric Adams administration. We know how hard you work.
No, you don't!
We value you, we trust you, and we believe in you. Eric He's not old friend. He's a long friend. And he's been working with corrections.
He's not here! He's not here! He's not here! He's not here!
I'm here to represent him. Your president may not always be there either, but your president represents you. And I am here to represent him. Your fight is not
With all due respect, Madam Chaplain, COMA is present. PCA is present. The union is present. We are here representing our members on all levels of this uniformed force. It starts off with correction officers and it ends up to ADW Deputy Ward Association. They are here with us.
Safe jails now! Safe jails now! Safe jails now! Safe jails now!
Safe jails now! Safe jails now!
Eric Adams is now in my embodiment.
Now!
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yo, so I'm running this. I'm running this.
I want to introduce the next mayor's city candidate,
I know.
Curtis Slewa.
Eric Adams may not be here. He was in the Hamptons yesterday. He's out of the country today. But Curtis Slewa's here in solidarity with corruption. And remember, I'm the only candidate for any office that's actually been locked up on Rikers Island. I know what it's like to be in a dormitory. I know what it's like to be in a cell. I know what it's like when the correctional officers are crapped all over, the administrators get wide down in parking line, and the men and women of the department are forced to work slave hours, 3 tours a day. That's an outrage. You don't have that in a third world country. And I ask Comrade Bill de Blasio, where are you? Yo, Dean.
There you go.
Go. You don't think that was done on purpose, do you? You don't think that was done on purpose by de Blasio, do you? Well, guess what, de Blasio? You're out there playing volleyball in Orchard Beach, basketball. You're shooting complete zeros in Belmont in the Bronx. People are telling you they want you to do something about crime and gangs. Well, I want criminals and gangbangers locked up, and I want them housed on Rikers Island. But we need correctional officers, 2,000 more. We need to rehab Rikers Island. We don't need community jails. We need the money to hire correctional officers now. And I'll finish on this because I know you got other speakers.
You can speak all day.
I didn't need this rally to come to Rikers. You've seen my videos since May. I've been speaking truth to power about how you've been abused and neglected. And I'll say it straight. A lot of these elected officials are making their first trip today here on Rikers Island in solidarity with all of you. Well, let me tell you something. How about we have a week for all the elected officials? They spend time in the general population. Put them in what I remember to be protective custody, punk city. Because you know they'll be afraid. Let them see what other inmates have to go through, what correctional officers have to go through, and let them know they're staying for 7 days and 7 nights in a dormitory with 40 other guys or gals who want to rip them limb from limb and then leave them on their own. I'm in solidarity with all of you. When I'm the mayor, you will be prioritized, and I won't be in the Hamptons like Eric Adams was yesterday, or out of the country. I'll be here on Rikers Island to support all of you. Thank you.
Is it getting hot in the heels of me? Is it getting hot in the heels of me?
It's only hot because he spoke the truth.
I want to introduce the president of the CCA, Pat Ferriello.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out here today. We need your support. Let me just say one thing off the top of my head before I go over a couple of bullets. Many years ago, I had a captain and her 2 children die in a house fire. Not only then did the mayor show up at her funeral. Okay, that's the kind of respect we got from Mayor de Blasio. Mayor de Blasio has never once, since I've been the president and I've been with this union 30 years, stepped foot on Rikers Island. While he was busy closing Rikers Island down, while the mayor was busy closing Rikers on his closing plan, he forgot we were still working there and running the jails and let it corrode. Now I'm going to tell you something about the commissioners. I don't care what commissioner he hires. Any commissioner that comes under Mayor de Blasio is going to be a puppet, just like the new one. Now, he's a puppet. The commissioner is a puppet. He's a puppet. He's got no discretion whatsoever. Now yesterday, I spoke to the commissioner. And you know what he asked me? He said to me, Patty, are you going to ask at your speech, will you ask the correction officers to come back to work? And I said, are you out of your fucking mind? Why would I ask correction officers to come back to work to be assaulted by not only inmates, but by the administration? Why should I ask correction officers to come back to work and they're gonna do a triple tour and he's gonna drive you home? We don't want a fucking ride home. We wanna go home. Why would I ask a correction officer to come back to work? Because he's going to give you a cookie. Nobody wants no goddamn cookies. All right? We want to go home and we want to eat rice and beans and pernil and roca gandules. We don't want no goddamn cookies. But that's his solution. His solution is we're driving him home. Hey, how about this? When you drive me home and I'm off, who's gonna take me fucking food shopping when I don't have a car? Not too bright, okay? Number two. The mayor rolled out a hip-hop concert, right? They're all out there having fun at a hip-hop concert while we're suffering on Rikers Island. This is no time for no hip-hop concerts. This is time for immediate help. But yet he's not gonna help us. Because you wanna know why? De Blasio's a straight up asshole. Okay? A straight up asshole. He doesn't care. Asshole, asshole. You think he gives a rat's ass about a correction officer? I'm gonna say something else. Black Lives Matter. And 80% of the men and women that work on Rikers Island are people of color. But how come their black asses don't matter? How come they don't matter? Why? Because they're not out committing crimes? All lives matter, and the black lives that wear the uniform each and every day, they matter more. So you could tell de Blasio, I don't give two shits about him. He could put me on the list with Ed Mullins, okay, and try to fire my ass, because I only got 40 years on the job. So, you know what I'm saying? What the hell? A couple more years won't hurt. And the last but not least, I want to talk about one more thing. Yesterday, I asked our commissioner, if you're going to mandate, if de Blasio's going to roll out this mandate for COVID testing, which they don't have a clue about how they're going to do it, and by the way, it is your choice if you want to get vaccinated or not. It is your choice. But yet, I asked the commissioner, who now told me he don't have a clue about how Rikers Island is ran. You know what he told me? That he couldn't test the inmates because of their constitutional rights. Wait. Since when don't we have constitutional rights? And number two, I told him, inmates, we have rights. Now, I told the commissioner last night, I said, Commissioner, you don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean we can't force somebody to take a test? I came on this job in 1982, and since 1982, we've been testing inmates for tuberculosis. And if they refuse to be tested, they get put in punitive segregation. They get put in isolation, right? So, where does it say that we can't put in a rule book that every inmate must be tested? Because what sense does it make to test the correction officers and then just throw them into the population with the inmates? Well, I want to thank you all for coming today. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. And I will tell you something right now. Benny's going to hate me for this, but I'm going to tell the captains, any captain out here, if you have a correction officer that is going into a triple, I am telling you to let them go home.